New details in the car chase that stopped traffic during rush hour near the Strip this week.
Wilson Reyes Gonzalez is facing charges for ignoring police, then attempting to ram into them. This was all during that standoff that led to a car fire just east of the Strip. Fox says Drew Andre live near where this all happened, breaking it all down for us.
Well, Jacqueline, police say that the suspect was over near the link and tailing close behind a taxi cab and then ignored police as they tried to make contact with them. And instead, a police chase ensued, ending up over in this area where that suspect was barricaded for about 30 minutes before their car went up in flames. From above, smoke, flames, and Metro police officers breaking the car windows to drag out Wilson Reyes Gonzalez. But the first police encounter with the man in his 20s took place near the link a few blocks away. Police say Reyes Gonzalez ignored an officer that tried to make contact with him after they say he tailed a taxi cab. Then the man ignored the flashing lights of another officer and began driving onto curbs and even damaged the security arms at the entrance and exits of the garage, the report says. Then the suspect drove onto busy Las Vegas Boulevard and back towards Bally's. Officers attempted to block Reyes in at the east end of the valet. He then drove over a curb to escape, almost striking a tourist walking on the sidewalk with a stroller. Then police chased the red Scion away from the Strip down Flamingo, and officers pit the suspect here just east of the intersection with Koval. Police say Reyes Gonzalez then started gassing his car, causing the tires to spin and a large cloud of smoke. Police believe he was trying to ram his way through officers. This lasted for close to 30 minutes before the front end of the car erupted in flames and burned one of the police cruisers blocking the car in. The ordeal brought a busy midweek near the Strip to a standstill, with traffic backups and precautions at nearby resorts.
He just told us there was a security event, and that's why all the transportation was canceled.
This man was at the Venetian and took over an hour to get back to Tuscany Suites a mile down the street.
Shuttle buses were canceled, the monorail was canceled, and so our only option was to wait on this huge queue to take an Uber.
After police rescued the suspect from the flames, he was taken to the hospital, but no officers or bystanders were hurt. And Reyes Gonzalez is facing charges of assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer and endangering others. Reporting live tonight, I'm Drew Andre, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
Records are showing that Reyes Gonzalez is out of custody tonight. His next court hearing is set for Tuesday.